All right, guys. All right, yeah, we are back at it again. Today we're going to be working on the engine bay. Pretty much last video you guys saw, we took out the motor. It's right here. I had to cover it though because it started raining. I don't know where for some reason in California. It never rains over here. But anyway, we are finally going to be working on the engine bay today. It's pretty dirty. It's pretty scuffed up. It's pretty gross. But yeah. We're going to be working on the engine bay, like I said, pretty much taking off everything that we don't need right now. You know, and then ordering a couple things we do need. In the meantime, pretty much just cleaning the whole engine bay, getting rid of all these lines, maybe covering them so that when we primer it and paint the engine bay, they don't get, you know, sprayed on. We're also going to take off the wrecking pinion because it's leaking. I'm going to go get that rebuilt and do it before we put the motor back in. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're gonna do today. Really just, like I said, doing the whole engine bay, painting it. Hopefully it comes out okay. I'm just gonna use a little spray. It's a Nardo gray. We're gonna end up wrapping the car in Nardo gray. I kind of want the engine bay to match it a little bit. At least, you know, rock it for like the next 6 months or something like that. So we're gonna use a primer can. The Nardo gray paint is a can as well, and then for the clear, we could either use a can or I have some actual clear and the spray gun that we could use. I guess what we got to do first though is gonna take off everything that we don't need, everything that I'm gonna replace, like this high pressure AC line I need to get, and it ends up somewhere over there. So I'm probably gonna take that off right now. Probably order a new one or find a cheap one because I can't find one cheaper than like $150. Like I said, take everything off, every bolt, all the harness wiring stuff, the grommets, you know, take everything off, really clean the whole engine bay first with some degreaser, and then we can work on sanding it and then primering and then doing the Nardo gray and then doing the clear. And then yeah, pretty much after that we're just going to be opening the old motor. Like I said, it's right here. I didn't do anything. It's pretty much exactly how I left it, but we're going to be taking apart the motor so that in case we do need something for the spare one that we have right here, you know, have the heads and stuff clean. Got to clean them a little bit more. We got to put this motor back together, although I did see that there was kind of some damage on one piston, so I'm trying to see if I could use maybe a good piston from the other motor to put on here, and then hopefully the car ends up being solid. But we're gonna be, you know, doing this I guess maybe tomorrow after we paint it. But for today, like I said, we're just going to be doing the engine bay and then seeing what exactly went wrong with this motor. Because it didn't exactly blow up, but it did, you know, have a big like thud sound. Maybe a piston rod was kind of falling apart or like loosening as far as the threads go. So should be pretty exciting to see exactly what went wrong and see, you know, exactly what we could do to, you know, prevent that from ever happening again with this motor. But yeah. I guess we're just gonna get right into it and start a time lapse. So let's go. Alright guys, so I'm back. Finally took everything apart. It's a couple hours later. I had to go do some stuff, and I also was taking my time just to make sure that pretty much I try to save everything as far as, you know, clips go, but obviously some of them were too hard to get, like the ones that go into the frame rail. You can't really get a screwdriver in there, so had to break them, which sucks. So we'll either buy some new ones or use some zip ties. So that's like nothing, but pretty much, yeah, like I said, I took my time taking everything off because it's always interesting when you try to put stuff back and you have 10 extra bolts and you don't know where they go. So yeah, collected everything, put the bolts back where they go on the subframe, took out the power steering. I took off all the power steering stuff, you know, the wrecking pinion and whatnot. Since I was going to paint the engine bay, I just took everything out at once. But you can kind of see that, you know, it's leaking pretty good from the boots and some from the lines and stuff like that. So I think it'd just be a lot better for us to kind of get this rebuilt, just in case. I mean, I do want this car to last me quite a bit, even though it's going to be my daily / drift car or whatever. But yeah, just for peace of mind, gonna get this rebuilt. But yeah, so you know, that takes us to, I guess, what we're gonna be doing now, which I don't even know if I have the sandpaper to do stuff, but I should have some in here I could just do by hand, just a quick little scruff. There you go. A 320 should be fine. I'm gonna use a 320 pretty much on the whole thing. Should be pretty smooth for the most part. If it's like if you can see like the scratches or whatever, I'm just gonna hit it maybe with some wet sand and then primer it, and then hit it with the wet sand again before painting it the gray to the clear. This is pretty much all we're gonna use right here. It's a regular primer. Hopefully this one's sandable. This one is though supposedly heat resistant up to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, so that should be pretty good. You know, because it's the engine bay, we don't want the paint to melt or anything like that. Just got to make sure that we shake it really well before using. Then we got the Nardo Gray touch-up paint by XS, probably an abbreviation of their company, but pretty much got this off eBay. I just put Nardo Gray, and this came up as a kit with its little clear bottle. They're both spray can bottles. I still haven't decided yet if I just want to, you know, use a spray can clear, or, you know, actually use some actual clear with a spray gun. But then again, this is going to be kind of a thrash car, so I may be leaning more towards using the spray can because I don't really give a fuck as long as the car looks somewhat clean and like together as far as the wrap goes. Of you know, obviously I don't want the wrap outside to be gray and then the engine bay to be blue. I'm just gonna paint everything kind of like I said, just to make everything look a little bit more cleaner. So probably gonna use the spray. Probably be a lot easier, but yeah, we've done pretty good progress so far. So yeah, before that though, we do have to degrease the engine bay. Had to clean it up before we sand it, just to get all this kind of grime off. All these power steering probably on this side, power steering down there from the rack and pinion, and this side or whatever. I don't know where this is from, but anyways, you get the point. Hopefully these gouges right here aren't too deep. My nail doesn't really get stuck, so that should be pretty easy to just kind of give it a quick sand over, and then it should look pretty solid at the end. I already covered up, you know, some of the most important things that we need, like you know, all the lines that go to the intake side of things on the motor, as well as the fuel delivery for, you know, the injectors for the motor that goes through the line to the back of the tank. Yeah, covered up some sensors down there, as well as the ports for the AC. Even though we do have to change this one, I don't want any, you know, paint in there, so I did cover it up. But yeah, like I said, pretty much what we're just going to be doing is just hitting it with some quick 320. Hopefully it doesn't take me that long. And yeah, should just be able to paint it and kind of let it dry a little bit and then hit it clear, and then should be looking pretty solid. So let's get to it. All right, what's up guys? So it's like about 2-3 days later. Pretty much what ended up happening was it rained one day, then it was super windy one day. It had like pretty much like a warning of high winds up here in Cali. So but we're back on the whole engine bay. Pretty much I just kind of taped everything for the most part, somewhat you know, like the brake lines, you know, the fuel lines, some of the subframe stuff. Back of the firewall, you know, right here where the coolant lines go for the heater core for the AC stuff. Like I said last time, we're just gonna primer with the low can, shake it pretty well. Hopefully, you know, it sticks pretty good. I already wiped down the whole engine bay really with just some water and a rag. Might do a little bit with some air, use the air compressor, kind of just blow it out just a little bit, just because there is a little bit of, you know, dirt on it still. But yeah, hopefully, you know, comes out for the most part pretty good. Pretty much like I've been doing. I'm just gonna time lapse what I'm doing. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys after. Primer first, let it dry, do it again, and then paint and clear. So yeah, let's get to the process. Alright guys, pretty much just finished doing the last layer of clear. Like I said, we kind of just did everything in twos. Had like half the primer, the primer bottle was like half full, so I only was able to get so much. Really only focus up here where it's kind of like visible from the engine bay when the engine's in the car. But yeah, pretty much the Nardo Gray turned out pretty good. Honestly, not too shabby for a spray can job. Looks pretty clean. I think though that I do have to order a little bit more because I forgot I need to do the hood and maybe with the door trim as well when I open it. I don't want to see, you know, the blue and then the wrap be gray. Kind of want everything kind of match a little bit, so I'll probably end up doing that. But yeah, like I said, 2 layers of primer, or 1.5, then 2 of the paint. Pretty much did only like 10-minute intervals between each layers, so I gave it enough time to dry. The clear is pretty much a cheap clear, so you could spray that as soon as you finish spraying your actual color, which for me was gray. I just sprayed it right away, gave it like cool 2 minutes for it to dry, because like I said, it's a cheap spray, so it really didn't take that long for it to dry. So pretty much sprayed it all once and then waited 2 minutes, sprayed it out again. Although I do want to let it kind of rest and dry. Hopefully in the next hour it's pretty good. I mean, yeah, hopefully when that dries, we're able to, you know, install this. I forgot to say that finally got the rack and pinion rebuilt. Watch out, Turbo. Pinion, like I was saying, finally got the rack and pinion rebuilt. They fixed a little line. I had a little kink right here. They fixed that for me. You know, pretty much just changed the bushings, although they didn't match that when they painted it. But yep, by the way, they painted it. Like I said, new bushings, paint. Pretty much, you know, the whole rebuild process. I'm pretty sure there's seals in there and stuff like that they changed. They also did the inner tie rods for me as well. These are new, so it has new joints, so it's, you know, pretty good. So yeah, hopefully we could throw that in the car in a little bit. And we're actually that depends. I might throw it in the car because I just remembered that while the rack and pinion is rebuilt and we could theoretically throw it in, we're waiting on some ball joints. I think the lower control arms did come in yesterday, so that depends. The video ends here, then you already know what happened. But yeah, and then that's pretty much it. Really some type of progress, even though it's slow. Hopefully this video is not too long. If it is already long, I'll just cut it here. Pretty much the next one, if this video is too long, I gotta work on that. I know, really doing a lot more in such a short time. Maybe explain things a lot kind of simpler, or, you know, just talk a little bit faster. But either way, if it is too long, I'll end it here. So I'll see you guys next time.